Hi everybody, I'm Joe.
And I'm Mary.
And we're Book Buds!
And today we're celebrating the 12 days of Christmas.
Woohoo! Merry Christmas! So today Mary's going to talk about these books. Ready? Comfort and Joy by Kristin Hannah. Sleeping with Santa by Debra Druzy. Starry Night by Debbie Maycomer. You Better Not Cry, Stories for Christmas by Augusten Burroughs. Winter Street by Elin Hilderbrand. Wishes for Christmas by Fern Michaels. A Fairytale Christmas by Susan Wiggs. The Christmas Train by David Baldacci. The Deal of a Lifetime by Fredrick Backman. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. The Old Magic of Christmas by Linda Raedisch. And Talk Santa to Me by Linda Urban. Oof, I didn't even prep this or look at these names beforehand.
You did well.
All right.
I spent November reading all these so I could tell you guys what you want to read this December. We're going to start with Comfort and Joy by Kristin Hannah. This was a very sweet story. It starts off a little icky though because her sister sleeps with her husband and then she's pregnant with him and she's going to like go and marry him. So like, ew, I don't want to start a Christmas book reading that.
Yeah, no.
She then flees during Christmas break. She's like, I got to get away from here. And she hops on a charter plane with some guys that are going on a hunting trip. So they don't even really have like a record of who she is. Plane crashes. And when she gets up, she's like, I don't want to go with those survivors. I just need a break. I need to be by myself. And so she wanders off and it becomes like this unreliable narrator situation where she's with this guy and his kid, and the mom of the kid has passed away and they're celebrating their first Christmas together. And it's like really hard for them to try and get these new traditions together because they're also really sad.
Okay.
So she's helping him, the little boy, to heal his heart and trying to bring them together because the boy and the dad are not close. And they're doing things like decorating a tree and trying to have like traditional Christmas celebratory things. So that was nice because I was looking for traditional Christmas things when I was reading these books.
Yeah.
Okay. But I also really liked the unreliable narrator because I like that sort of thing. So it was an interesting story. It wasn't always like a heartwarming thing, but definitely an interesting read. So if you like Kristin Hannah, definitely check it out. If you're intrigued by the unreliable narrator thing, I think it was a good one.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Next we have Sleeping with Santa.
Now this title, I don't know. What is this now?
This is because last year when we're like, we got to read Christmas books, I saw this big like naked chested man on a book, Sleeping with Santa. I'm like, that's the kind of Christmas book I should check out.
And how was it?
So, I mean, of course, it has the focus on the sexual relationship, right? So in this one, they integrated Christmas really well throughout. We had a fireman that was dressing up as Santa for the, fire department Christmas party. So you had Christmas celebrations happening. But the storyline was that this girl was like, I'm never going to date any firefighters because they have a risky job and they're just going to end up dead on me or something like that. So she went from like never going to date him to just like throwing that out the window for absolutely no reason and like, okay, being all over him. So I don't really like when you don't have a reason for that change. That bothered me a little bit. But the Christmas story was cute. There was lots of cute, like, romantic stuff happening in the book. But also just as a warning, I don't like when there's like grammatical mistakes in a book and I feel like it's not edited well and it aggravates me when I'm reading. So that happened a little bit in this book and it bothered me. But overall cute and fun.
That would bother me too.
I know that the sexy Santa part, you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's not Christmas.
For me, it was fun.
What's next? Hopefully
trying.
you got something better next time here for me.
Better for you. I don't know if you're going to like any of these books, honestly. This
Probably
is not
not
a Joe list. He's very picky. All right, so the next one is Starry Night by Debbie Maycomer. This one was not very Christmas focused. She was a writer for a society page in a magazine, and she wanted to be able to get like a different job. And so the boss said, all right, if you can get an interview with this author, I'll give you any job you want. And the author was an author of a book called Alone, and he lived up in Alaska, so like very snowy. So we didn't have a lot of Christmas theme, but we had definite snow. I felt cold and I wanted it to be cozy.
Yeah.
Okay. So she goes and she tries to find this guy. She finds him. He's really resistant. He doesn't want to give an interview. He wants his isolated private life. Okay. But they of course fall in love. And then you have the relationship be really weird because they're like instantly super in love, but they're now at a distance, long distance. And then when they finally get together, then of course there's an argument and then like, there's tension and then but Christmas brings them back together, all that stuff. So it does end with some Christmas, like we end on Christmas having a happy Christmas, and it's all feel good. And it was a cute story, but it was a little bit rushed with the like I love you, no I don't kind of stuff that happened in it. But overall, I would read another one of hers.
Now all these that you're talking about so far, are these like full-length novels or short ones?
So some of them are shorter, some of them are a little bit longer, but most of them are like under 300 pages.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of them are quicker. Okay, the next one, You Better Not Cry. These were Stories for Christmas by Augusten Burroughs. So
Oh, fun.
Stories for Christmas means like it's little snippets of his life that were Christmassy, and he threw it together in the book.
Like his past Christmases?
Right.
Okay.
Because so he writes memoirs, and I've read 2 of his books already, and he has a very unusual upbringing. Okay, very, very unusual. And so all these Christmas stories are very unusual. This was not a feel-good Christmas read. This was not a warm, fuzzy Christmas read. So if you want to read something totally different about Christmas, basically he never experienced a good Christmas in his life. So
that's sad.
They're all either sad or disastrous or really just like uncomfortable. So the early on in the book, I was like, why am I reading this? He thinks that Santa and Jesus are the same person because his upbringing didn't teach him any differently. And his grandmother comes in with a gigantic Santa wax creature that she puts next to the Christmas tree. And he has some kind of like sexual drawing feelings towards this Santa Jesus wax thing. Okay. But he goes over, he approaches it, and he bites like its nose off. And he talks about like crumbling the wax in his mouth and swallowing it, and then like going for the cheek and biting some of the cheek. And he's just like devouring in this like sensual but creepy way this wax Jesus Santa thing that he's experiencing. It was just really, really uncomfortable.
Did he ever explain why that occurred?
Why he ingested it?
Yeah.
I mean, he was explaining it as he was doing it, but I don't know.
Did he go to therapy later in life?
He's been in lots of therapy.
Analyzed for that?
He's been in lots of therapy. But yeah, he's had some interesting Christmas experiences to tell.
Sure does.
Yeah. All right, the next one. This one was so Christmassy.
Okay, what was it
so
about?
So Christmassy. This is Winter Street by Elin Hilderbrand. Okay, so just let me comment on Christmas first. We're talking about Santa. There's a bed and breakfast, and they're decorating for like their annual party.
Oh yeah.
They're singing songs.
It's like a movie.
They trim the trees. Like you have the whole setting of Christmas. So like you're really ready for this warm, cozy Christmas by the fireplace kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
The story, however, is not warm and cozy in any way at all. No. So like page 1. The guy, his name is Kelly, that owns the bed and breakfast. He walks in on this 60-year-old Santa kissing his wife. So immediately he and the wife break up, and this is his second wife. And then each chapter we meet another one of his kids or her kids, and there's a lot of kids. So like immediately there's 15 characters in this book. And it was just like a lot for me to track, like which depressed child is this, you know? So each one has a tragic story. So dad's dealing with his breakup. The daughter, her boyfriend goes off to celebrate Christmas with his family, and like an old heartthrob is going to be in town, so she's worried about that. One of the sons is sent out to Afghanistan. They don't hear from him. He like no cell connection, and they're all really afraid. Like they're hearing things in the news, and they're worried about him and his safety. Another son just did some like real illegal trading thing with finances. I forget what that's called.
What's going on?
But he's like gonna get arrested and go in jail or something like that. Like he's just been found out. Insider trading, that's the word. He's just been found out, and his wife like leaves him suddenly. So like all these people are dealing with disasters.
Yeah.
As we're preparing for the warm,
Christmas.
fuzzy annual Christmas party. And I'm just like, oh, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. So then this one is a part of a 4-book series. I only read the first book, but you keep thinking like, oh, it's going to get really good. You know, like they're all going to be happy at Christmas.
Yeah.
And then the very end of the book, I'm sitting in bed next to my husband reading this book. It's late at night. I slam the book, I throw it down, and I scream at my husband, that was the worst Christmas book ever. It was not warm and heartwarming.
No.
It was terrible. Like the last page of it, they even left you with like, and this terrible thing is happening. And I'm like,
oh, and you hate that. It wasn't a happy ending for you.
No, wasn't a happy ending at all. And like, because there's a second, third, and fourth book, I'm sure they're going to go on to explore those things. But oh my God, I can't think of like a happy moment in this book at all. I do have to say there was one sentence in it that like it made me stop and pause and reflect on my own life, which is nice when it happens when you're reading.
Oh yeah.
So this quote was, what is the saddest day of the year, Labor Day or December 26th? With this in mind, Ava tells herself to be present and celebrate the holiday instead of wishing it all over. after all, one is given only a certain number of Christmases in one's life. So for me, I do a lot of coordination and like planning during Christmas and like just trying to get stuff to happen. And sometimes I do find that I'm like, oh, the day's done. Like, you know, all my jobs are done. Check, check, check. Instead of like enjoying Christmas. So reading that in the book was really helpful to me before Christmas, because I would like to go into Christmas, even though there's a lot of responsibilities. I'd like to go into it and enjoy each step of it if I can try and keep that in my mind, you know?
You have to slow down, and
I know.
it's your holiday too.
I know, but being a mom, it's very hard.
Well, you enjoy it with them, I'm sure.
I do, but
you need to,
I need to slow down
like
and,
this
yes.
idea.
So this was a good quote
Enjoy.
from this book, even though this book was like mayhem. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Still, it was well written. I was very engaged. And I mean, for me to emotionally react like that,
Yeah, right.
maybe I'll read another one. We'll see. All right. This next one. Okay. This one I DNF'd it, I have to say. This was called Wishes for Christmas by Fern. And there's a series that this woman wrote that has 35 books.
Oh.
It's the Sisterhood series. So this book was her Christmassy like novella for that series. And as I started reading it, I'm like, I don't know any of these characters. This doesn't mean anything to me. And like, there's no character description because she's written about them in 35 other books, you know? So obviously those people would know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel engaged right away. And then they're all billionaires and they're talking about how they're going to donate their money for like what cause at Christmas, like millions of dollars. And I'm like, I can't identify with this. I've never been a millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a millionaire, I don't think. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to skip this one.
Yeah.
So
well, it's like our little food drives we do.
right.
Our little corn muffins and things like that.
Sure, little donations that we do. I don't know. I can't quite make that equivalent. But check it out. If you've read her Sisterhood series, you probably would like it.
Now, this next one sounds great.
Yeah.
Just from the title.
A Fairytale Christmas by Susan Wiggs. What do you think it means?
Fairy tales, like fantasy? Or is it about like...
You would think that maybe, but no. Susan Wiggs is a romance author, and have read
like wedding or something like that.
Yes, Cinderella.
Okay.
That's what you should be thinking. So Susan Wiggs, I've read a number of her books before, and I love her romance stories, her full length ones. This one was pretty short, and so I felt like it was a little rushed at times. It jumped right into the main characters jumped right into bed together. Because it was a short book. I mean, they had to sleep together really quickly.
Had to get it on.
But so the fairy tale part of it was that the two people that slept together at the office party right at the beginning of the book.
At the office party?
Or like they left the office
Fun.
party, they slept together. When he slipped out of her place, like before midnight, one of his cowboy boots got left behind. So I'm like, oh, Cinderella move right there.
Yeah.
So that's really what that was about. It was a cute little love story. It had some Christmas vibe to it, but it was short. You know, short, sweet. If you want something short and sweet, go for this.
Okay.
I really do like her full-length novels, though, more than this one.
Okay.
So my 8th read was The Christmas Train by David Baldacci.
So wait, this has been on my list forever. I'll have you know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There's like a movie.
Yeah.
Maybe watch the movie.
Okay, let's hear this review.
So, this guy is taking a train from DC to LA because he's been banned from flights because of his poor behavior.
Yeah.
So he's going to travel to go see his girlfriend for Christmas. Okay. But he gets on the train, and I first have to say, like, before we get to the story of him being on the train and like talking with other people, which is like the good part, there's a lot of like historical references to dates or older movies and like just stuff that I was like informational, and I couldn't follow it. And I've read one other book by this author, and I feel like he has like dry spots like that. So I don't know if that's true of all of his books, because I haven't read that much, but it had dry spots like that I did not enjoy. And I was like, my eyes were like skimming to try and get to where's some dialogue, you know? But when I got to the dialogue, he wrote a really good story. The story about this guy and this adventure on the train was very engaging, and you really wanted to know like what's going to happen next. So he added some really fun things in. There was only a little bit of a Christmas vibe because we were on a train the entire time. So we're not trimming a tree at home. We're not hanging stockings. We're not having big parties. They did put a tree up on the train, but it was like, you know, modified kind of Christmas stuff.
Okay.
So the plot line is that he gets on this train, and his long lost love from like 20 years ago or something like that happens to be on the train also.
Oh, okay.
They come face to face, and she doesn't want to talk to him. It's like really tense, but he's traveling to go see his other
Yeah.
girlfriend,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And there's a director on the train who like instantly bonds with this guy, and he's like, you got to help me with the writing for the next movie or whatever, and here, meet my assistant. And it's the girl that he's like, oh yeah, we know each other, can't really work together. But then there's such craziness that happens on the plane. There's a couple that wants to get married on the train. Did I say plane?
You did, yeah.
Either one. There's a couple that wants to get married on the train. They actually have a priest meet them at a stop and gets on the train so they can get married on the train. There's like thefts that are happening along the ride. There's some very strange twists that happen at the end that was like super unexpected. There's an avalanche. Like disasters and stuff like that. Yeah, so there was stuff happening.
Okay.
Once it got going, there was stuff happening.
Action-packed.
Yeah, his story was intriguing, and it just kept building and turning and stuff. So it was fun in that way, if you can get through like the drier part of his book.
You DNF this? No,
I read the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Next one, we have a Fredrick Backman.
Ooh, I love him.
9th book of Christmas. So The Deal of a Lifetime. I picked this one because it was on one of Oprah's Christmas reading lists.
Yeah.
Okay, but this was not very Christmassy. It was not very heartwarming.
This happens a lot.
I don't know why this was.
Why are Christmas books not Christmassy?
It was 2 people dying of cancer, guys.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah.
It's like the Christmas shoes.
Right. It was only 80 pages long, I think. So it was quick. There was a little girl who was in the hospital, and there was an older grumpy man in the hospital, and both were dying of cancer. And they kept seeing like this gray woman who I took to be kind of like the reaper that like helps deliver you when you die, you know? And so there were conversations happening with her, and the old man is given an option. He's not that old, but maybe like 50s, 60s, I don't remember. But maybe he's older than that, 60s at least. He's given the option of giving up his life so that this child can be well.
Yeah.
But if he gives up his life, all his like offspring, they'll still be alive. They'll just have different life patterns than if he was in it. It's like he'll just be erased. They'll have a different father. They'll have different memories. He won't be in any of their memories.
Oh, wow.
So he just like zaps himself out of existence. So the book is like him deciding if he's going to do that, and kind of like reminiscing about his relationships that are gonna disappear, that kind of thing, if he makes that decision. And it ends on like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day when he's making this decision. It's the only thing that's Christmassy. Was like, here's the time of year, guys.
Yeah.
So, not feel good. I don't know why Oprah put that on her Christmas list.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right.
But if you like Fredrick Backman, if you enjoy his writing, then maybe that's a Christmas book for you. I don't know.
Which I do. So I would, out of all of these, I would choose that one so far.
Yeah, I think so. That probably is the Joe Reed out of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so next one, I figured I should read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, right?
Yes, I love this one.
So this one I decided to listen to the audiobook because I knew like the classic Old English language was like not going to be something I would enjoy. I couldn't even listen to it in an audiobook, guys.
How was the narrator? What did he sound like?
I don't know, boring.
Boring.
I couldn't do it.
A Christmas classic is boring.
So I have seen the movie so many times, so many different variations of
There's
A Christmas
so many,
Carol.
yeah.
I particularly love the Muppet one, of course, you know? So I really did want to listen to this book, but I'm like, why am I torturing myself? I DNF'd it. Have you guys read the actual book? Or
Yes, I have.
You have? And did you like it?
I mean, it's very short.
Yeah.
It's, it's very classic-y and oldie, which I enjoy.
So you would recommend it?
Yeah, it was good. Some of the language was a little bit hard to understand.
Yeah, it was just boring for me. I'm sorry.
It was like feel good.
I'd rather have somebody jump into bed with the Santa Claus fireman.
Because I've seen so many of the movies, I could just envision it as it helped me get through it, which,
yes.
It helped.
And I thought that was going to be the case for me too, but then I was like, no, I'm going to give up.
Yeah.
All right, I have one other that I DNF, number 11 book here, The Old Magic of Christmas by Linda Raedisch.
Sure.
So Goodreads in the description of this said that she integrated like folklore and witches into like this seasonal read, and I was like, oh, that can be really different, right? That's a great Christmas read. That's something I would like. But as soon as I started reading it, it was like she was like a teacher being like instructional about some folklore, and I was just not there for it. And I tried. I was like, okay, let me like see if I can get to like a better part. But then I went and I read some reviews, and of course I read like the lower reviews, like the 1 and 2 stars.
To validate your experience.
To validate my experience, exactly. And they were like, oh, it's like a textbook. And I'm like, yeah, they're right.
Yeah, it is. It is like a textbook.
And I don't want to read that. But if you're interested in folklore and you want to read something instructionally kind of like that, and also, you know, Christmassy, maybe check it out and let me know if it was any good.
All right.
So this is like the order that I read them in, guys, which is so funny because book number 12 was my favorite.
Oh, all that
I know.
to get to your favorite. Okay.
So book number 12, I wasn't even planning to read, but my son came home with a Scholastic magazine for like the books that are on sale for his class. And I looked to see what was there. And one of them was Talk Santa to Me by Linda Urban. So this, I was like, let me see what a kid's read is going to be like, right? So the main character is 15 years old. So this is like a middle grade, like maybe lower high school level book. Adorable. Oh my God. So Christmassy.
Oh, fun.
It was nice and long.
Okay.
It was adorable. The girl's name was Frankincense because she was born like in their Christmas store, and her mom was like looking at the 3 wise men when she popped out.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
So she was named Frankincense. She had 2 brothers named Don and Dash for Donner and Dasher.
Love it.
Her grandfather had like he was like Santa for their town.
Okay.
And he set up like a North Pole like store and a Santa training center. So they had like this massive Christmas shop, and like everything was just filled with Christmas. They were always stopping and having different cookies that Grandma was making.
Oh, Grandma cookies are the best.
It was adorable. And so interwoven with that, we have the 15-year-old story of like she's got a crush on this cute boy that's selling Christmas trees across the lot at this other spot, right? She's really wanting to kiss him. So there's a focus of that. But there's so much of the story is about like her grandfather passed away before this book, and her parents and the aunt and uncle are trying to like keep the business going. They're changing some things. The aunt keeps buying different uniforms and making her try them on, and they all make her like look like an elf, and she has to do like an evaluation of them. Some of them are like covered in candy canes, some have like suspenders, and she's like wearing them backwards and whatever. It's just really a cute read. Her dad is not so comfortable playing Santa like Grandpa was, and there's an evening with Santa where they go on TV and they do like phone-ins from kids, and Santa answers questions for kids.
Oh, cute.
And Dad had a bloody nose right before he was supposed to go live, and so the aunt is about to go out, and the aunt is like not so friendly, and she's going to be Mrs. Claus, and the girl's like, no, this can't happen. So she's wearing her little work outfit, and she grabs a Santa hat and puts on sunglasses, and she charges out there, and they're like, who are you? Because it's like instantly live, and she's like, I'm Santa's intern. Cool. And so then all the kids love Santa's intern and send her letters. It was really cute. Nice. Really, really Christmassy. Yeah. Really warm, fuzzy feelings. It was what I was looking for in my Christmas book all along.
Wow. And you found it just on a fluke.
I know. I'm really thankful I did.
That sounds good.
So I hope you guys like pick something out of these 12 that you might want to read if you're looking for a Christmas read, and let us know what you think. But like for me, this experience, I said to Joe, like I decided to read Christmas books because he's always saying each year I want to read a Christmas book, and then like you read something and you're like, it was okay. Yeah. But like you made me feel like I need to be doing this. And I spent all of November doing this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not enjoying this. This is not, like, they're good, they're fine, hard genre, but it's not what I was wanting. Like, I wanted that real warm fuzzy.
Like, everybody has their own idea of Christmas and their own upbringing and their own memories. Yes. And like, if you don't really find exactly what you're looking for, it's a hard book to sell. I don't know.
I think that must have something to do with it.
You know, it's difficult.
Yeah.
But
what do you guys want in a Christmas book? Like, do you read Christmas books? I'm curious.
If you're like ending the video.
I don't know if I'm going to do it again. Yeah, what I want to know, honestly, is if there's something that I haven't read for Christmas that you think is an amazing Christmas book and I should read it. Like, I'd be happy to read it this year for Christmas or next year for Christmas. I would love some other recommendations to give it another shot.
All right. So we need help, guys.
Yeah.
Help us.
Now you can take us out.
All right. If you're enjoying Book Buds, give us a thumbs up.
And share us with your friends.
And subscribe to our channel, Book Buds!
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.
Overall, it was a cute story, and Santa was super sexy. Okay. Well, he wasn't Santa. Okay. Should we switch sides or we back?
You love a good back-to-back.
Do if it turns out nice.